WrestleMania 42 takes place this Saturday and Sunday in Las Vegas for the second consecutive year. Now, originally, this show was announced for New Orleans at the Superdome, but WWE decided to change venues because they felt they could make more money in Las Vegas. Now, unfortunately for them, they are seriously lagging in ticket sales as compared to last year. Last time I checked, they were down around 18% from WrestleMania 41. So maybe that's some bad karma for WWE for what they did to New Orleans last year. Now, the show officially takes place in Paradise, Nevada at Allegiant Stadium. We'll see how packed the crowd is, but one thing that could be an advantage for having a smaller crowd is having a bigger set. Now, they had a good set last year. That was one of the few good things about that show. But now with more room, maybe they go and give us an even better set. We have 7 matches for night 1 and only 6 matches for night 2. That, to me, is seriously disappointing because a lot of names are being left off this card. And I just feel that they could have added more matches, not for the sake of getting more people on the card. It's just it could have been a better show with more matches. Now, unfortunately, I think we're going to get 6 matches for night 2. We're probably going to get a John Cena segment with Danhausen. Great. It's good to have Cena back as the host, which he is this year. But, you know, I just feel like they could have added more matches. 6 matches for a WrestleMania show? That just seems so seriously low to me. And I just think they could have added more. Even for night 1, they could have added another match. You have Tiffany Stratton, Julia, who's the Women's United States Champion, Carmelo Hayes, who was the United States Champion on SmackDown for many months, having great matches. And other names as well are just being left off this card, and I think they could have found more matches. And the most obvious one is Io Sky, who I think should be facing Asuka. That match should have been announced for night 2, but it's not happening. And I do not expect that match to happen. I think the Bellas are going to make it for the show. And, you know, I just think it's a timing issue where they just can't get Io Sky and Asuka on that show. I mean, if the Bellas were not going to be on the show because of Nikki Bella's injury, they were going to give that spot from the reports to Asuka and Kairi Sane, the Kabuki Warriors. But that's just not going to happen. I think Io and Asuka will just have a match on Raw. So I think it's disappointing with how WWE has handled some of the matches and some of the names. Io's just going to be Rhea Ripley's sidekick on this show. But that's for night 2. Another issue is these fucking celebrities. I am so sick of these people. I don't care about IShowSpeed. I don't care about Pat McAfee. I do not care about Jelly Roll. I do not care about Lil Yachty. I'm so sick of these people. A lot of these are just D-list celebrities that no one really cares about, and they're getting all this time. You know, Jelly Roll on SmackDown, I think he had like 3 segments the past week. It's ridiculous how much TV time these guys are getting. We all know what Pat McAfee has done, and I think really, when you look at the build to WrestleMania, it was not good. There were some good matches built up, Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi being the best, but, you know, overall, it was another bad build up to WrestleMania. For now, we have 2 years in a row with a bad build up, and, you know, the trajectory is last year was a bad show as well. So I'm afraid that this is going to be another bad show, and it doesn't help that it's taking place in the exact same location as last year. So the pattern is that we're going to get another bad WrestleMania from Las Vegas. And not to mention, the first WrestleMania that took place in Las Vegas, WrestleMania 9, is one of the worst WrestleManias of all time. And WrestleMania 41 last year's show was one of the worst WrestleManias in recent years. I thought it was the worst Mania since at least 32. And we're coming up 10 years on that show. And that was not a good show either. So my expectations are not high for this show. The build-up has not been good again. A lot of the matches to me are lukewarm. I'm not that interested in, particularly the Cody Rhodes Randy Orton match, due to all the anticipated celebrity interference that I expect to see on the night 1 main event. So I just feel like that match and that build-up, it was just ruined by Pat McAfee. It was such a disastrous segment that they had him do, and, you know, the stuff he's saying, it's like, I don't even want to watch it anymore, how bad it was. And my expectations to WrestleMania this year are very low. I hope it's a good show. I don't think the card is necessarily bad. There could be some good matches, but then again, we look at how these PLEs have been booked. Really, since they've moved to ESPN on for WrestlePalooza, that was the first one. We've seen commercials during PLEs now. These matches don't get a lot of time. They usually don't go more than 15 minutes. And, we get a lot of downtime during these shows. A lot of commercials. We get backstage segments still. And, there's just so much filler in these shows that it makes it drag on. And if you ever watch a show on replay, you can probably finish it in 2 hours. There's not a lot of, focus being given to the matches. And that's unfortunate. But I think if you've been following this channel, you've heard me rant enough. Let's start with the predictions. Let's get to it finally. Night 1, our opening match, and this will be on ESPN2 in the States. Us international viewers, we will watch on Netflix. And the opener is a 6-man tag team match. We have The Vision, which is Logan Paul and Austin Theory, teaming with IShowSpeed. Screw him. First celebrity I mentioned on the card already. Taking on the Usos, Jey Uso and Jim Uso, and their partner, L.A. Knight. Yeah. So who's going to win? Well, I'm going to go with what WWE feels will get them the most social media views. What will get them more views? L.A. Knight and the Usos winning, which is what the fans in the building are going to want to see. But WWE is not booking for them. TKO wants the most viral moment. And unfortunately, the most viral moment they can create, and Logan Paul and IShowSpeed supposedly, I don't know what the content is, but they uploaded a video, and I think it was on IShowSpeed's channel, that I think they got around like 400 million social media views, some insane number like that. WWE is going to look at that and say, well, if we have IShowSpeed win and he gets a pinfall, that's going to be a huge viral moment for us on social media. We're going to get all these likes, all these comments, and yeah, the hardcore fans will be pissed off, but so what? It's worth it to them. And I think, unfortunately, Speed and Knight, Speed's going to pin Knight. That's what I mean. Speed and Logan Paul, their team's going to win because of the social media, because of the celebrity angle. And, they want clicks. They want views. And by having the heels win, that's going to get them more views. And I think they will win. And I think IShowSpeed is going to pin LA Knight. How I see the match ending is there's going to be a spot. The referee's going to have his back turned. And Logan Paul is going to have the brass knuckles in his hand. And then he's going to hit LA Knight in the head with the knocks. And then IShowSpeed will get like this fluke victory where he falls on top of LA Knight. 1, 2, 3. IShowSpeed gets the win for his team. The heels win. IShowSpeed and Logan Paul and Austin Theory get the win in this match. Yes, the fans will be upset in the building, but it's for ESPN2. They're going to probably want to see IShowSpeed win and Logan Paul win because they are more well-known names than the wrestlers in this match. And that's unfortunate to say, but it's just reality. And I think what TKO wants is for IShowSpeed's team to win. And I think he will pin LA Knight. It's going to piss a lot of people off, but I think that's what's going to happen here. Now, the second matchup is an unsanctioned match. We have Jacob Fatu taking on Drew McIntyre, who was screwed out of the championship. Everyone thought when Drew beat Cody Rhodes on SmackDown earlier this year that he was going to go to WrestleMania as champion. He was finally going to get a WrestleMania main event in front of actual people this time, and that did not happen. And unfortunately, Drew is basically in the exact same position that he was in last year when he had a similar match against Damian Priest last year, which he won, and that was a really good match. I enjoyed it. But, you would expect Drew to have a higher spot on the card. Instead, he's basically in the exact same spot, and Jacob Fatu is in a higher spot than he was last year. I think he was facing LA Knight for the U.S. Championship, so it is a better spot for him. And he's not a championship spot or a main event spot, but still a really good spot. And I don't know. I just think the way they've built it up, I think it makes more sense for Jacob Fatu to get the win here. And I think it's a decent chance. I don't want to talk about another match that's the main event on this show, but I think there's a good chance that he could be the first opponent if Randy Orton beats Cody Rhodes. Not giving away my predictions yet, but because we don't know who took out Jacob Fatu last fall when he had his teeth knocked out. Who was it? People thought it could have been Drew McIntyre because of a Claymore kick, but it also could have been Randy Orton from a punt. Maybe Orton punted Fatu and knocked his teeth out and took him out, and we find out it was him, and he becomes one of Randy's first opponents for the WWE Championship. I think that's a very likely possibility here, and I don't think Drew's going back into the championship title so soon after that disaster of how he was done dirty, I think, by Creative when they had him lose the belt back to Cody last month on SmackDown when everyone thought he was going to finally get his big WrestleMania main event. That did not happen, and I think, unfortunately, WWE just saw that Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton's a bigger match than Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre or Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, so Drew just kind of got to be the odd guy out, especially as there were lower ticket sales this year. So I think it's unfortunate, and I don't think Drew's going to win this. I think Jacob Fatu gets the win. Next, we got the Women's World Championship on the line in one of the better built matches this year, especially for Raw. And Raw's had definitely the better build-up than SmackDown has. SmackDown's been atrocious this year. The last few SmackDowns have been some of the worst shows I've ever seen in the history of SmackDown. And that's with last year, which was a horrible year for SmackDown. It's not been good. But Raw has actually been decent most weeks. And we have this match, which I think has been built up a lot better the last few weeks. Stephanie Vaquer defends the Women's World Championship against the 2026 Women's Royal Rumble winner, Liv Morgan. Now, we don't know if Liv's going to be accompanied by Raquel Rodriguez or Roxanne Perez. Remember, it was last week on Raw, around 9 days ago or so, when Liv had that really bad collision with Roxanne Perez. Stephanie pushed Liv right into Roxanne, and they just bumped heads, and it was so scary to see. I felt really worried about, very concerned actually about both of their well-beings, and they both had matching goose eggs on their foreheads after that. So definitely felt bad what happened there. But Liv is 100%. She's going in, and she also got her own new music video on Raw this past Monday, which I did watch a couple times, I admit, and I did like her dance moves. Who doesn't? But I think it just feels like it's Liv Morgan this year. Stephanie Vaquer has not had a good title reign. It's been boring. She started off great when she had that really good match with Io Sky at WrestlePalooza, and she won the Women's World Championship from Io after Naomi vacated the belt because she was pregnant. And, they had a really good match. Stephanie wins, and she had that really great year in NXT previously. So she was on fire, and everyone thought she would be at I never expected her to be this cold. That's how I'll put it. And, cold is never used Stephanie Vaquer. She's the opposite of cold in every other facet, except really her career the last few months, because it's just been such a boring title reign. Not much has happened. She's wrestled Raquel, it feels like, multiple times, and it just feels like it's Liv Morgan. All the signs point to Liv. She won the Rumble, the new music video. Stephanie's, the title reign's not been very good. Liv has momentum right now. It just screams like a Liv Morgan victory, and I think this is almost a lock of the entire weekend. I think Liv's winning this match. I could see Raquel getting involved or Roxanne. It's possible, but I do think Liv will hit Oblivion. She'll pin Stephanie Vaquer. 1, 2, 3. Your new Women's World Champion, Liv Morgan. Next, we go to the Women's Intercontinental Championship on the line. AJ Lee defends her belt that she won from Becky Lynch at Elimination Chamber against the woman I just mentioned, Becky Lynch. And this is, I think now, this will be their second official singles match, but in terms of their matches against each other, it's their fourth match, and AJ has owned Becky Lynch. Let's be real. Becky has been AJ's bitch the last several months. First, AJ comes back. She beats up Becky on her return at SmackDown after 10.5 years. Then at WrestlePalooza, she teams with CM Punk, her husband, against Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, who is her husband. And they have not a very good match, by the way, but AJ submits Becky Lynch to the Black Widow. And then she teams against Becky Lynch's team at Survivor Series, and AJ Lee submits Becky Lynch once again to the Black Widow for her team to win. And then at Elimination Chamber, she challenges Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship in Chicago, which is her now adopted hometown now. And she submitted Becky Lynch once against the Black Widow to win the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Belt Becky has held twice, and I do think Becky Lynch will become a 3-time Women's Intercontinental Champion because I am predicting Becky Lynch will win this match. By the way, the match order I have is on Wikipedia. It's how WWE has announced it. I'm not sure if this is the official match order, but I think this is how they announced it on ESPN, by the way. That's where the Wikipedia listing came from. So I'm not sure if this is the official order, but right now I do think I think Becky's winning. I think she'll beat AJ. I don't think Becky Lynch can afford a loss because she's been beaten so many times by AJ Lee, and it's been clean each time. I just think, again, this is almost a log. Almost similar to the Liv Morgan-Stephanie Vaquer match, everything points to a Becky Lynch win. It doesn't make any sense for her to lose to AJ Lee again. I mean, how many times can she lose to AJ? AJ has gone the better of Becky every single time. It all points to Becky finally beating AJ, probably with a heelish way. I don't think it'll be clean, just like I'm not sure Liv's going to beat Stephanie clean, but I do think Becky Lynch will defeat AJ Lee, and she will win the Women's Intercontinental Championship now for a 3rd time. Next, we go to the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, defended in a fatal 4-way match. We have the Irresistible Forces, who are a horrible team, by the way. Lash Legend and Nia Jax, who are just awful. They're one of the worst tag teams ever to hold the women's tag team titles, and that's saying something because Nia Jax has held them before, and it's not been good either. But they'll defend their belts against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, and the Bella Twins, Brie Bella and Nikki Bella. And as I mentioned earlier, there's question marks about Nikki Bella because of her ankle injury. I think she'll be on this show. I think she'll be there. I think she'll be in a very limited capacity. I think Brie will definitely do more in the match when the Bellas are involved. That's not a good thing because Brie's a lot worse than Nikki. Nikki isn't that good either. So I think Nikki's not going to miss the show, and she can afford to be in this match because if this was just like a singles match, I'm not sure she'd get clear. Because it's a fatal 4-way tag team match, she can stand on the apron and they can hide her in this match, and she can have a WrestleMania moment that she desperately wants again. Similar to when I talked with AJ Lee, I don't think the Bellas are winning this. I just think, with AJ, she's a part-timer. She's not around very often. And with the Bellas, similar situation. They're not going to be around too often. I'm not sure if they're going to stay around even after this match. I just feel like they wanted to go have another WrestleMania moment together. They're going to have a match at WrestleMania teaming. I don't think they'll be champions. I don't think they're going to win. I think they're the least likely winner of the 4 teams. Then you go to Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. Lyra did win the women's tag team titles last year with Becky Lynch when they beat Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. I don't think Lyra's going to win again this year, especially since she actually beat Charlotte Flair on Raw this past Monday. And with Bayley, I don't know her contract status. I'm not sure if she's going to stay with the company past this September when her contract is up. I think the most likely scenario is still, despite having a WrestleMania match and being screwed over last year when they had Becky take her spot, when she was supposed to team with Lyra when they had her get taken out, I don't think Bayley's winning. I think it's in some ways her getting the spot's almost a make good from last year, but I don't think Bayley's winning. I think most likely she's leaving and she's probably going to the competition to be reunited with her best friend, Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks. We will see Bayley and Sasha. I think it'll just be Pam against Mercedes this time. But I don't think Bayley's winning. Her team's winning. And Charlotte and Alexa, who everyone knows I love Alexa, I don't think that they're winning this. They've been champions once or twice. I think once. And they were a good team when they won the belts at SummerSlam. I just think it's less likely that they're going to win the belts at WrestleMania after winning it at SummerSlam. And I think their days as a tag team are numbered. I think most likely they're going to want Charlotte Flair back in the women's championship title. And I think they're going to probably build to their split in the coming weeks after this match. I don't think either of them are winning. And it wouldn't surprise me if one of them gets pinned to further build to the split. And I think if one gets pinned, it'll be Alexa. So I don't see Alexa Bliss or Charlotte Flair winning. I think likely they're heading for a split, and I don't know where Alexa will go from there. I think Charlotte's going back to the women's title picture. For Alexa Bliss, I'm not sure how high Triple H has ever been on Alexa Bliss because he never really pushed her much in NXT, so I'm not sure where Alexa's future is beyond this match. But I don't think her and Charlotte are winning. Unfortunately, I think Lash and Nia are winning, which are like the worst choice besides maybe the Bellas. Triple H loves Lash Legend. He sees her and she's very well built. She's tall. She's muscular. That's who he wants to push. He likes pushing women like that so they can feud Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill and stuff. That's who he wants to push. Unfortunately, I don't think Lash Legend's very good. I think being paired with Nia Jax has actually made her regress. I don't like the pairing. I've never been a fan of Nia Jax. I don't know why she keeps getting pushed. Besides that, she's The Rock's cousin. I don't know any other reason. But I think Lash and Nia are going to win. I think they're going to retain their belt. And I think most likely you'll see Alexa Bliss or maybe Bayley take the fall on this match. Next, we go to the match I think is most likely going to be the second last match on night one. Seth Rollins taking on Gunther. Should be a very good match. I think this will probably be the best match in night one. I would expect this to be the best one. Mainly because I don't think it's going to be saddled with the outside interference that the main event is. But yeah, this should be a great match. Seth, he has good matches at WrestleMania. He has a very deep WrestleMania catalog. Gunther's had some solid matches at Mania too, except last year with that disaster against Jey Uso, which was horrendous, and none of that was Gunther's fault, by the way. But it makes all the sense for Gunther to win. He should not be losing, especially after retiring John Cena. Before that, he retired Goldberg, and after he retired Cena, he went on to retire AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble. It does not make any sense in the world for Gunther to lose to Seth Rollins. He should beat Seth Rollins in this match. It's possible. I don't want to see this, but it's possible Braun Breaker makes an appearance because originally this match was definitely going to be Seth Rollins against Braun Breaker at WrestleMania. And I think, Gunther just has Braun's spot. And I think Gunther was probably going to face Rey Mysterio, but that match fell through due to Rey's injury. And, due to Braun's injury, this match just kind of came together. And I don't think no way, shape, or form was this the plan because there was no hint of it at all. It just makes sense for Gunther to win. It doesn't make any sense in the world for Seth Rollins to win this match. I don't think there should be any justification for having Seth win. I think having Seth win is terrible, and I think it'll kill Gunther because he still has a lot of heat on him after he tapped out John Cena and he retired AJ Styles. And I think maybe retiring Goldberg, especially with what Goldberg said about the company, might make Gunther a babyface. So I don't think that's a big deal. But, people hate him because he retired John Cena and AJ Styles. It makes sense for him to beat Seth Rollins, get a win at WrestleMania, especially since because the last 2 years, he's actually lost at WrestleMania. Last year, he gets tapped out like a bitch by Jey Uso, who's fucking atrocious as a single star. The year before that, he loses to Sami Zayn, which ended his 2-year Intercontinental Championship reign. So I just think Gunther needs to win, and I think he will. Seth, last year, he actually did win the main event of Night 1 against Roman Reigns and CM Punk. So I think also because the storyline with Paul Heyman and Gunther wants a favor from Heyman. It doesn't make sense for Gunther to lose. I just think Gunther's winning. Next, we go to the Undisputed WWE Championship on the line in the main event of Night 1. Cody Rhodes defends his championship, his undisputed WWE Championship, against his former faction member of Legacy, his former mentor. It's teacher versus student. Cody Rhodes versus the Viper, Randy Orton, with the one and only Pat McAfee in his fucking corner. Fuck Pat McAfee. I don't even want to talk about him. Oh, it's not, to be honest, I'm going to rant now about this fucking match. They had such an easy story to tell. Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes have almost, a 20-year history together. When was Legacy formed? 2008, I believe. That's when they first formed Legacy with Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and Ted DiBiase Jr., who some people thought was going to actually be the mystery caller. No, I don't know if he's in trouble or his dad's in trouble. You're not going to see him on WWE anytime soon. And he's just left wrestling. So, and by the way, this isn't actually the first time they've wrestled at WrestleMania together because, as I just mentioned, DiBiase, it was actually him versus Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton in a triple threat match at WrestleMania 26, and Randy Orton actually won that match. He punted Cody Rhodes, and then he hit an RKO on Ted DiBiase and got the win, which was the end of Legacy in a triple threat match. It was actually a pretty good match that year, 16 years ago. So 16 years later, they have, I guess, somewhat of a rematch. Cody Rhodes defends the belt that he lost last year to John Cena. Then he won it back from Cena, lost it to Drew McIntyre, won it back from Drew McIntyre. Now he defends it against Randy Orton, and this is for Cody. What is it? This is his 5th consecutive WrestleMania match. I was going to say 4, but there was 2 at 39, he loses to Roman Reigns for the the undisputed WWE Universal Championship at the time. And then the following year, WrestleMania 40, he loses on the night one main event. Remember, it's him and Seth Rollins teaming up against The Rock and Roman Reigns. Cody lost. He got pinned by The Rock. And then the next night, he beats Roman Reigns, and he ends his 1,316-day title reign, wins the undisputed WWE Championship, an incredible moment, WrestleMania 40. Then the following year, he held the belt for a year until he lost it to John Cena in the catastrophe that was last year's main event, which featured Travis Scott ruining the match, ruining the whole fucking show. By the way, fuck Travis Scott for last year. Fuck Travis Scott. Burn in hell. I'm still very pissed off about that. And I expect Cody Rhodes for the second consecutive year to lose due to celebrity interference because Randy Orton's going to win this match. I think Pat McAfee will cost Cody Rhodes this match. The match is really now about Cody Rhodes and Pat McAfee after that disastrous fucking 2 weeks he's had on SmackDown, cutting two of the worst promos I've ever heard. And Pat's going to cost Cody the match. He'll play a factor into the finish. It'll probably be similar to last year. Cody hits a crossroads to Pat. He eats an RKO and loses, something along those lines. Randy Orton's going to win this match, and it makes sense for Randy to win. I just think it's more interesting to have Randy Orton as champion because Cody's been champion for so long, and there's more matches you can do now with Randy as champion than Cody because you've done everything with Cody. And I just feel like Cody, especially on SmackDown, he's almost done. Like, what else is for Cody Rhodes to really do on SmackDown now? I feel like he's done practically everything he really needs to do on SmackDown, and I just feel that better suited for him at least to just go to Raw for a while. But I just think Randy Orton's going to win. It's going to be another fuck finish from like last year was the main event of night 2. We'll see it similar. It's just, God, the omen from last year, man. It's like it's lingering into this year because it was such a bad build-up to last year's show and it was a bad WrestleMania. And now we're getting the same thing this year. It was a bad build-up, I think even worse than last year. I think we're going to get another bad WrestleMania probably. It's just so much celebrity. Jelly Roll is going to play a fucking factor in this. I'm sure he'll attack Pat McAfee, Jelly Roll, and I hope Jelly Roll gets booed. I hope Pat gets booed. Well, we know Pat's going to get booed. It's going to be, they'll just say it's heel heat. But I'm so pissed off with how this has been handled. Randy wins. That's all I have left to say. I don't care about this main event. I'm not that interested in this. They've killed my anticipation, my excitement with what they've done. Bring in Pat McAfee to this. Fuck TKO for that. That's all I have left to say. But I think Randy Orton wins the main events for night 1, and he is your new undisputed WWE champion. Now, let's go to night 2. We start off, and this will be the opening match. Brock Lesnar taking on Oba Femi. This has been the best built match easily this year for WrestleMania. It's been really good. They've done a great job building up Oba Femi. For a guy who hasn't been on television for very long, he only came into the company on the main roster at least in January or so at the Rumble around that time. And they've done a tremendous job building him up, especially for this match. When they issued the Brock Lesnar Open Challenge, had Oba Femi answer it, and he powerbombs Brock Lesnar, hits his fall from grace finisher actually. Incredible segment. And they really haven't lost the momentum too much for this match. Now, the one thing that worries me, especially if Brock wins, is the fact that Brock has not gone any offense on Oba Femi. Oba Femi has kicked Brock Lesnar's ass every single time they faced. Every time Oba has gone the best of Brock Lesnar. And that worries me because Brock hasn't gone any offense in, and maybe they want to make Oba look as strong as humanly possible. So when he does lose to Brock, he won't lose too much. And there was reports that Brock didn't want to lose to Oba. But you know what? Despite that, maybe I'm just going with my heart over my head and what I want to see more than what I think is something that could happen. I just think Oba has to win. I don't think Brock's going to win. They could go with Brock. There's been so many times where we thought Brock's losing, then he ends up winning. Remember one year against WrestleMania against Roman Reigns, I think at 34, everyone thought Roman's going to win. Brock ends up winning. So things have happened before where he just keeps the belt, or he beats someone everyone expected him to lose. People thought he'd lose to John Cena at WrestlePalooza, and he squashed him. So I think Oba's going to win, though. Makes sense. I don't expect the match to go very long. I think expect a match similar to what Brock had against Goldberg at WrestleMania 33, something along those lines. Not a very long match. Oba Femi wins. Should be a fun match. We'll see a whole bunch of finishers. We'll see some suplexes from Brock. I think Oba kicks out of an F5. Then he hits the fall from grace onto Brock. 1, 2, 3. Oba Femi gets the win. Next, we go to the second match. That's going to be airing on ESPN. not ESPN2, ESPN1, ESPN proper. We have the Intercontinental Championship defended in a ladder match, a six-pack ladder match. Penta defends his title against Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, Rusev, and Rey Mysterio, who just came back a couple weeks ago. Should be a really good match. Ladder matches are usually really good at WrestleMania. You have Penta, who will do great here. Javon, I think, will be the star of the match. Dragon Lee should do excellent here as well. JD McDonough has bumped some bit before, so he can do well. Rey, I don't know how much is expected from here. And Rusev, I think, will get more of a monster spot. I'm surprised they don't do 8 guys. They could have added both the Americanos, Chad Gable and Ludwig Kaiser's Americanos, if they wanted to put 8 guys in there. But they didn't. 6 is what they want. That's fine. I think the first Money in the Bank WrestleMania 21 was just 6 guys too, before they started adding 8 guys a few years after that. But who wins this match? I just think it makes sense for Penta. I look at the other guys. Rey, he's not winning. Rusev, they've done nothing with him for the last year. He ain't winning. He's not over. JD, 0% chance. He's the least likely. Dragon Lee, they could do a surprise, give it to him. He's just not very over. And despite how good he is in the ring, just not very over. Javon Evans is a possibility if they want to get him over, and people will really like him. He'll get cheered. I just think because Penta only won the Intercontinental Championship like a little over a month ago now, it doesn't make sense for him to lose. It would be an extremely poor decision to have him lose the belt right away, especially since he cut that passionate promo. He was so excited and meant so much to him winning this belt. I don't think it makes sense for Penta to lose the Intercontinental Championship this soon. And I think in this match, he will climb the ladder and retain his Intercontinental Championship. Penta wins this match. Next, we go to the WWE Women's Championship. On the line, Jade Cargill defends her title against Rhea Ripley. And Jade will have B-Fab and Mishin in her corner, while Rhea Ripley has her sidekick, or maybe more of her side chick. They've been teasing so much with Rhea and EO. I'm not sure if they're ever going to do that storyline. I wouldn't mind it. I think people would like it, but I don't know what they're doing with either of them right now. Jade and Rhea, look, this match shouldn't happen. They should have a better match for Rhea. I wouldn't have minded if Rhea and Io went into WrestleMania as women's tag team champions, and they actually defended their belts, and they could have won. They would have been the most likely choice to retain their belts. People love them as a team. I don't think Rhea would have an issue with it. I think she loves Io working with her, and Io loves working with Rhea. People love them. They could have had this. They could have done that, and I think that probably could have happened if Bianca Belair was going to be cleared. I think she was probably going to face Jade Cargill at this WrestleMania, probably lose, kind of like what Rhea's going to do, but I'll mention why. But I think Bianca just not being cleared. I mean, last year, her, Rhea, and Io had that just incredible women's triple threat match, which I think is the best women's match ever at WrestleMania last year. And, a year later, Bianca in that match breaks her finger or her hand. Something happens. A year later, she's still not cleared, and we still have not seen Bianca Belair. I would have expected her to be back in a couple of months after last year's injury, at last year's Mania. Now, it's been a freaking year since that show, and we have not seen Bianca Belair. It's really been a shame. And I would love to see her back. She could make a return on this show, or at least on Raw the next night, maybe SmackDown on the Friday after. I think that's less likely, but hopefully we see her back sometime this year at least. Who wins here? Again, I mentioned Io. This will be her spot. She should have a match with Asuka on this show. It's not happening. It's a shame. It's bullshit. Unfortunately, I don't have an issue with John Cena, who's the host. I haven't talked much about him. He's the host. And by the way, speaking about Cena, I want to know if John Cena is going to wear the jorts and the shirt and the hat, or we're going to get, suit and tie Cena. I think we should see suit and tie Cena because he promised us that he was going to retire his regular wrestling gear. So we'll see what version of John Cena we see. But back on to this match. I think Io will play a factor. Her and B-Fab and Mishin will kind of eliminate themselves, and I think, unfortunately, I'm not necessarily want to see Rhea as champion again so fast, but I think Jade's going to win this match. I don't think they want to give it back to Rhea right away, and I think they want to give Jade Cargill a long, dominant title reign. I think Triple H and TKO and WWE see a lot in Jade that a lot of the fans unfortunately don't see. I think they continue on to push her to a top position, and I don't think they're going to give the belt to Rhea because I think she's staying on Raw, and they really haven't built this matchup well at all. This has been one of the worst built matches on the entire show. It's been very poor for being such a high profile match and a first time meeting between these two women, like these two alpha females, and it's just been a very poor build up. One of the worst build-ups. It's not been exciting. It's not been interesting. It doesn't seem like they like each other really, either of them, especially Rhea, are that into this match. Because Rhea usually at WrestleMania, she's super into the matches, who she's facing. It just doesn't feel like she's that into wrestling Jade. And I don't know if Jade's that into wrestling Rhea either. And I don't blame her for Rhea's perspective because Jade just knocked it in the ring. But Jade's winning, unfortunately. She's beating Rhea Ripley and she's retaining the WWE Women's Championship. Next, the United States Championship on the line. Sami Zayn defends his title against Whoop That Trick Williams, who's being accompanied by Lil Yachty, who I don't want to fucking see. But I think who's winning, they could go either way. This is a tough match to predict. I'll admit, for all the matches, the hardest match I had predicting was this match and the opening six-man tag match on night one. But this match is difficult to predict because it really could go either way. They could have Sami Zayn retain because they want to get him over as a heel. And it's obvious Sami's a heel now. Trick's going to be a face, only a matter of time. So they could want to have Sami as a heel. Well, in order to do a double turn, you can't really do a double turn with the babyface beating the heel. It needs to work the opposite way. We all know Bret Hart and Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13. That's how it worked at that show. And I just don't think it makes sense to do a double turn with Sami Zayn losing. But despite that, this is a hard match to predict. I'm just going to go with Trick Williams. I think they want to push him. I don't know if Sami needs to be U.S. champion. And I think Sami can really turn heel more so on the crowd on Friday. It's a tough match to predict. I'm not going to lie. I could absolutely see Sami winning. But it just tells me Trick is so hot right now. People love him. Everyone's going to cheer him. I think they want to give him the belt and have him win the U.S. Championship on this show. And I think he's going to beat Sami. I think Trick wins. But this could go the other way. It could go with Sami. Next, we go to the match I think is the biggest lock of the entire weekend. Dominic Mysterio against Finn Balor, the Demon Finn Balor. So it's been 3 years since we've seen the Demon. He lost to Edge at WrestleMania 39 in the Hell in a Cell match. Supposedly, Vince McMahon's the one who changed the decision for that match to have Edge beat Finn. Doesn't surprise me. Vince never liked Finn. He always, sees Edge as a much bigger star. So that's why I think Edge won at Hell in a Cell that he absolutely should have lost 3 years ago to Finn. To the Demon, Finn Balor. Demon's going to win. You don't beat the Demon. It's been 3 years. It's been so long. It's going to be a big pop. It'll kill him dead. This is what he has. This is what Finn Balor has as a babyface. As a heel, he was fine in Judgment Day, but it was just time to split away. As a babyface, he really doesn't offer much. He's the kind of the guy who walks out in a leather jacket. He's not big. What separates him, what makes him a star, is the Demon. People love the Demon. We want to see the Demon. In NXT, when he first came out as a Demon, it was incredible when he teamed with it's Hideo Itami against the Ascension. Wow, I'm dating myself. Then I remember when he came out, I was like, holy shit, what is this? This is the Demon. I was so excited to see it. He cannot lose. The Demon is going to beat Dominic Mysterio, and he's going to win this match. Next, we go to the main event of WrestleMania 42, Night 2. The World Heavyweight Championship on the line. The best in the world, CM Punk, defends his title against the OTC, Roman Reigns. Who is winning this match? This isn't a type of WrestleMania main event that's totally predictable. It could go either way. They could have CM Punk win, and the way they could have Punk win is the Usos come out and cost Roman Reigns. Jey Uso turns on Roman Reigns, and Punk retains the title that way. That's a possibility. Another possibility is Punk just wins in just a weird fashion. They do almost maybe Punk wins in almost a heelish way, and he's going to go heel. That's a possibility, but I think the most likely scenario at the end of the day, WrestleMania 42 Night 2 ends. WrestleMania 42 as a show officially ends with a new World Heavyweight Champion, Roman Reigns. As a match, this has been one of the best built-up matches on the show. I think it peaked too soon, but I think they've done a good job. A lot of people didn't like the last promo on Raw. I actually liked it because it was so much different from what we usually get, and I liked how they were kind of putting each other over, acknowledging each other in a way because both guys are baby faces, in case you haven't noticed. They've done a good job here. I think Roman's going to win. I think there's more money with Roman as champion. I think there's a lot more Roman can do. There's a lot more guys Roman can face. When Braun Breaker's back, he can have a match with him. There's different guys on Raw for Roman to feud with that CM Punk has already feuded with. They can have Reigns and Rollins again. I think this match was originally going to be Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, and that's the biggest reason why I'm picking Roman Reigns, because Seth Rollins pinned Roman Reigns in the main event of Night 1 last year, and he actually pinned Roman Reigns, if you recall, at WrestleMania 31 in that main event. So he's pinned Roman Reigns at 2 WrestleMania main events, and this was originally going to be Seth Rollins as World Heavyweight Champion against Roman Reigns, with Roman Reigns finally defeating Seth Rollins and becoming World Heavyweight Champion. I think that was always the plan. I think they want Roman Reigns as World Heavyweight Champion. They want to give him this good title reign, and they want to elevate the World Heavyweight Championship to the Undisputed WWE Championship. And the way you do that is you put it on Roman Reigns, who is, I think, probably still the biggest star in the company, even though Cody's on TV more. He's kind of has more, I don't want to say he's positioned over Roman. He's really not, but like we see more of him, and he's the top guy from week to week as the full-time guy. But the biggest star right now, especially with John Cena now retired, is Roman Reigns, and I think they feel like they can elevate the World Heavyweight Championship to an even higher level by having Roman Reigns as your World Heavyweight Champion, and I think it just makes sense for Roman to win. I don't know, like the Punk's title reign has been good, but it hasn't been spectacular. I'm not sure who else is left for Punk to feud on Raw. I just think it makes all the sense for Roman Reigns to beat CM Punk, win the World Heavyweight Championship, and he is once again the Tribal Chief, has gold around his waist or over his shoulder, however he decides to wear the belt. But WrestleMania 42 officially ends with the Tribal Chief once again as a world champion, this time as the World Heavyweight Champion. Roman Reigns, your new champion. He will defeat CM Punk in this match. So, that's officially my predictions for WrestleMania 42. It takes place, as I said, this Saturday and Sunday in Las Vegas, Allegiant Stadium, second consecutive year. The build-up has not been good. There's been a lot of issues. The ticket sales have just been atrocious. And because biggest reason, I did a short actually on why. I gave 5 reasons, but the biggest reason I believe is the fucking insane ticket prices. So, WWE got some karma for charging high ticket prices, screwing over New Orleans. Now they did pretty badly. They did pretty shit, to be honest, in their attendance and how many tickets they've sold. So, unfortunately, the fans had to suffer the most because they called Pat McAfee to save the day, which he hasn't, by the way, even with his 25% discount. So that's WrestleMania. Look, my expectations are very low. I don't expect a good show, mainly because I have no confidence as Paul Levesque as a booker. We have not gone good PLEs. Every PLE has been pretty bad the last year. The one good show as a major show was SummerSlam. I can go back to last year. Evolution I really liked. But like the last year, there's been like a few good shows. Everything else has been very disappointing, and it hasn't lived up to its expectations. And WrestleMania 41 was a bad show. It had a horrible build-up, and the show did not deliver and did not, make up for the bad build-up. It was a bad WrestleMania. WrestleMania 41 was. WrestleMania 42 has had a bad build-up. It's had some incredibly stupid stuff with Pat McAfee, and I don't have any expectations for Paul Levesque as a booker, so I expect WrestleMania 42 to be a bad WrestleMania again, even if it's a little bit better than 41, which is not saying much. So we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, I still hope WrestleMania 42 is a good one.